What made you finally snap and dump your roommate? The emergency vet called me about my roommate's golden retriever puppy Walrus while I was performing chest compressions on my third cardiac arrest patient of the night. My hands were still trembling when the charge nurse shoved my phone at me because it wouldn't stop ringing, and she thought someone had died. The vet said our downstairs neighbor had rushed Walrus in after finding him extremely sick at her door with a note taped to his collar that said, "Ate something bad. Please take to vet. I'll pay you back." And my number was the only contact on his tags. I stood there in blood-soaked scrubs trying to process the fact that my roommate had literally dumped her poisoned puppy on a stranger and ran off. The neighbor found him 10 minutes after she saw a taxi leave, and he was already in bad shape, so we started emergency treatment. But we need authorization for surgery because his kidneys are failing. They'd pumped his stomach and found an entire bottle of ibuprofen plus chocolate cake, which meant my roommate had left her medication and food out before abandoning an 8-month-old puppy who still needed potty breaks every 3 hours. My brain couldn't process how someone could see their puppy get sick and tape a note to him like he was a package being returned instead of a living creature. The vet needed to know who was authorizing the $2,000 surgery, and I told her that it would be me, because it always was. The vet asked when Walrus last ate, and I rattled off his exact schedule, including the digestive supplements I'd started buying after my roommate's cheap food gave him diarrhea for a week. You know his entire medical history, but you're not the owner? I explained that my roommate worked from home but vanished the second I walked through the door, so I handled everything from 5 a.m. feedings before hospital shifts to midnight potty breaks. So you work 12-hour shifts saving human lives, then come home to parent someone else's puppy? Hearing it said out loud while my legs shook from exhaustion made me realize how insane my life had become, but I loved that sweet dog too much to let him suffer because his actual owner treated him like a stuffed animal. The vet asked about his training, and I admitted I'd spent every day off at puppy classes because untrained puppies become dangerous dogs, but my roommate thought discipline was mean. My supervisor overheard and asked when I'd last slept through the night, and I told her 3 months ago because Walrus had separation anxiety only I could soothe. "You haven't slept properly in 3 months while working cardiac?" She looked horrified, and suddenly I understood why I'd been making stupid mistakes and crying in supply closets, and why my hands shook even when I wasn't doing compressions. After calling 100 times, I finally reached my roommate at the airport boarding her connection to a 5-day meditation retreat, which explained why she'd taken off in such a hurry while her dog was getting sick. "I'm about to turn off my phone for digital detox, and you know I trust you with Walrus, so just handle whatever's happening." Something inside me shattered. She didn't even ask if he was alive. "You left him sick at the neighbor's door with a sticky note rather than miss your flight, and you're asking me to handle it." She got defensive, saying she couldn't miss check-in because they wouldn't refund her deposit, and the neighbor was home anyway. He seemed a little sick when I was packing, but I figured he'd eaten grass, and I really needed this retreat for my mental health. The boarding announcement echoed behind her while her puppy fought for his life on a surgery table. She said I was being dramatic, and that I was better with him anyway since I had medical training. "You don't have a dog. You have a toy you play with when you're bored while I keep him alive. He deserves someone actually home enough to love him properly." I told her she had 1 hour to turn around or I was calling animal control, and she actually laughed. "That's emotional blackmail, and I'm literally boarding, and this retreat is important for my spiritual journey." My laugh was so harsh, 3 nurses came running thinking a patient was coding. "Your journey is about to include animal cruelty charges. I'm done watching you neglect this sweet puppy who needs real attention, not someone rushing home on lunch breaks." She hung up on me, so I did what any exhausted person would do and called her mother. "Is Walrus okay?" Her mother asked immediately, which told me she already knew what kind of person her daughter was. "He's in surgery, and I just spent $2,000 I don't have because your daughter taped a note to him and left him at a neighbor's door rather than miss her flight." There was a long silence. Then she said, "I'll be at the vet in 20 minutes with a check, and I'm taking him home with me. I'm so sorry." She sounded exhausted in a way I recognized from my own mirror. 7 hamsters, 3 rabbits, 2 cats, and now a dog. I don't even have words. Her mother handled the vet bills and took Walrus while I packed everything and found a new apartment before my roommate came back. Her mother found Walrus a home with a retired couple who had time and a huge yard. The last text from my former roommate said she couldn't believe I'd been so heartless.